Hurricane Ida made landfall about 40 miles south of here. We've heard estimated winds well over 200 miles an hour when it hit Fouchon. Some cousins of ours that were down there were texting me like, it's bad, be careful, it's coming. During the eye, as I walked outside, it was calm. I would say probably 30, 40 mile an hour winds, enough to go outside and inspect the house. I lost 2 windows. I started my generator. I started my table saw and started ripping some boards to plug the windows. And during that, one of our employees came out of the bushes, kind of like a Field of Dreams movement, and just, he had this frightening scare over his face, completely wet, and said, "Chris, we don't know what to do." What I found out is they lost their complete roof, ceilings. They were clean. Their mom and dad told them to cling to the wall and just ride it out. And luckily for them, I was there. And they said, "We don't know what to do." And I said, "Get in my house. It's safe. There's a roof over my house." We had 16 family members, from a 2-year-old that was still being nursed to little kids to adults. And they ran into the house and they just lost everything.
My home, which is just right up the road, it's pretty stoutly built, and it's got a semi-basement in it, and things were getting bad. And I told my wife, I said, "Let's go downstairs." And we did. During that time frame, I texted my employee who he spoke about, and I said, "Are y'all okay?" And he said, "No." He says, "Roof gone?" He said, "We're up against a wall, holding on."
My wife and everybody else at 4 o'clock in the morning, they were going to stay. No, we're leaving. I stayed. And I can remember being through it and them talking to me on just that cell phone coverage. And, "Oh, why don't you go out and see what damage you had?" I said, "Well, no, it's still a hurricane," because it basically sat over us for 4 hours. "Well, the news says it should have been passed." I said, "Well, the news don't know what they're talking about," because it really was that. Had I not been home, I'd have lost my back porch and door, because I actually had to brace a 2x6 from the wall to the door to keep it from blowing in. And I lost major live oaks and this and that. But the hardest part, I'm gonna be like him, was this guy. I talked to him the last time. They were hunkered down in the closet. Didn't talk to him for 2 days. But they're okay.
To be there for them, but also to be there for the farm, but be there for our community. We know with our equipment from Sunshine that we were the first responders. We were able to, the whole road here, you could not walk through. You couldn't drive a vehicle. You couldn't even get a John Deere Gator through. We used our big excavator. We had a John Deere skid steer as well, just to clean the roads for National Guard, for emergency personnel. And also, just to go check on, my first thing was to check on my grandmother, but I jumped on my motorbike. That was the only way to get around, check on Brian and check on my dad, because there was no coverage, no cell coverage, just to make sure they were okay. And then it went from there. How far out can we reach and help people? I think our excavator went through, we moved a lot of trees, which you'll see here in the community.
I cleaned up 10s, 20s, 30 yards probably with it. Probably hauled 100, 200 trees, full grown 100-year-old oak trees.
In pieces, yeah.
Honestly, a lifesaver for a lot of people.
I took my John Deere Gator, and I had some big snips, and we started clearing the road the best we could. For 2 weeks after the storm, you're still having to go around trees in the highway, where, they're across the highway. We took our excavator, some tractors, etc., and just tried to pull trees off.
I went to all friends, family, anybody that reached out with our excavator and cleaned up their yards, took trees off their houses, hauled it all the way to Graceland, where he lives, to one of his employees' houses, and pulled a pecan tree off of his roof because it was falling through his roof with him and his family, just whatever we could do to help.
Yes, we will overcome. Our family's been in this since 1853, and it's not going to stop now.